How's it going, everybody? Spencer here with a brand new video. Today talking all about Samurai Warriors 5. So, Koei Tecmo of America were nice enough to send me a review code for the game last week, and while I'm still working through the game, I wanted to make this video, kind of give my initial thoughts on the game, because I've been gushing about it a lot online, but I haven't really done too much on the channel, and I've been really looking forward to this. So, for starters, a little bit of information. I have played the game on PC, Nintendo Switch, and PlayStation 5. The majority of my time and all of the footage you are watching is from me playing on the PlayStation 5, but obviously there is no native PlayStation 5 version, so it's just the PlayStation 4 version, just running it with everything maxed out. So, I just have to say right off the bat, I have no idea how or why Koei Tecmo / Omega Force kept this a secret for so long, but I'm kind of glad because it's sort of crazy to think that this game is releasing 5 months after it was announced during the Nintendo Direct, and what's so funny about it is, like, over the last, 5 months and stuff, looking at all the promotional material for it, it's just been, everything has been oh, I like this, oh, I like this, oh, I like this. So, a little bit of history for me with Samurai Warriors. I've been a lifetime Dynasty Warriors fan, but Samurai Warriors always kind of avoided me just because I didn't play all of them back in the PS2 and especially PS3 days. And I jumped into 4 when that released on PlayStation 4 for the 10th anniversary. And Samurai Warriors 4 was really interesting for me as an entry point. It had a lot of characters and was a very different take on the series, especially coming off of Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends. So, while I really enjoyed 4, I definitely didn't have as much interest going into the sequel with 4-2, Empires, and Spirit of Sonata I totally missed, and I just picked up all of those games over the last couple of months, and I plan on checking those out in greater detail over the next couple of months. But what's so funny about it, though, is with 5, it just kind of really hit me. I don't know if it was because it's been so long since Omega Force had a new traditional game that didn't just kind of feel like a copy and paste. And what I mean by that is not in the traditional, oh, Omega Force games are very copy and pasty. I more mean in the sense of, it's really been a while since there's been a new and a really feels new game, because you look at how long ago Dynasty Warriors 9 was, that was very different, but not everyone's cup of tea. Warriors Orochi 4 feels very reactionary, but definitely doesn't feel like a 4 in the grand sense of things. It definitely feels like something that would have come out at the beginning of the PlayStation 4 generation, and not something that came out towards the end. But still, Warriors Orochi 4, really fun game, still didn't have that new kind of wow factor to it. And Omega Force has obviously been working on games like Pirate Warriors, but that's more of just like a spin-off, and other games that are very much outside of the Musou genre with Persona 5 Strikers. But it's so funny of how much I've liked a lot of their work. They haven't really had a new feeling core Warriors game in a while, and Samurai Warriors 5 just ticks every box of that for me. It is a brand new storyline. It is the earliest in the series we have for following Nobunaga Oda's story, and we get to follow a very focused story. And I like classic Dynasty Warriors, or just warrior storytelling in general. Pick a character, go through the story, see your what-ifs, see things like that. But this game's story mode is hey, you have Nobunaga's timeline, you've got some side stories, and you've got Mitsuhide's timeline. And it's here's the time, here's the location. It's very boom. The story is very focused on what it's trying to tell, and there's not a lot of fluff, which I really appreciate. The story starts very strong, and even as I'm currently towards maybe the halfway point of Chapter 3, I'm really entertained by it still. I'm not sure how long it is, but I'm already surprised how I've sunk 10 hours into this, and I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of the game. For example, I didn't even know Mitsuhide had his own dedicated story timeline. I thought, okay, it's just Nobunaga, it's all following him, and obviously you'll be able to play as multiple characters. There's tons of characters to play as in the game, but it's nice to have that duality, because this doesn't just feel like Nobunaga's story. It definitely feels like this is the story and the origins and the kind of timeline of not only Nobunaga, but Mitsuhide's story as well, which I really like. The bonds, if you are an anime fan, the bonds in this is 10 out of 10. Very good storytelling. And also, just talking about the storytelling, amazing voice acting. I know a lot of the cast is just returning, but it feels like the take that they're doing with the tone in this story is just very serious, very, like, respectful. It never feels too hammy. You obviously have your stereotypical character types, but it feels very down to earth, and almost like how you would see in a drama, which I really appreciate it. And I feel like that kind of takes a lot of the hints they learned from Spirit of Sanada, which I really, really liked from the little time I played with that. I think these games, even though they're known for being very long, having lots of unlockable characters and stuff like that, I think it benefits them so greatly by having that focused thing of, yeah, have a bajillion characters to play as, but have that focused timeline. Yeah, you can branch out from it, but I think just having that dedicated focus of, I am this person, I am trying to reunite or make peace with Japan, there you go, that's all we need. There are so many other character dynamics that can happen, and it's really, really appreciated. So, next up, obviously, is going to have to be the presentation in terms of really big new things. So, the art has been totally overhauled. I'm sure it's still the same core engine they even used with maybe Samurai Warriors 4 or Warriors Orochi 4, but it's very clean. And I'm surprised at how well it translates to almost all the systems. So, when I played this on Switch, it's definitely not going to impress you, and I don't know if that's just because of how kind of low resolution it is, but I think because of how stylized it is, it made it really scalable to a lot of different people's setups and game platforms. And what's been so nice about this is playing it on the PlayStation 5, the game just absolutely pops on my TV. Like, it looks amazing. It runs at a rock steady 60. Like, and one of the nice things is, and I'll show in the footage here, is even playing co-op with my wife and stuff, not a single bit of difference. Like, I'm sure maybe some of the resolutions were a little bit lower, but never once did the frame rate hitch on PlayStation 5. Even when there's waves of enemies and you're both doing your super attacks, everything was very, very fast and really, really fluid, which was nice. So even though there is not a dedicated next-gen version on PlayStation 5 for this game, it still feels just as good. The load times are fine. I'm sure they could be a little bit more sharpened up, but this game really, really has a nice pace. The visual color of everything, it like pops in that interesting sort of... It's sort of hard to like say because it's not like just cell shading. It's very much kind of its own thing, and it might not be to everyone's taste, but for me, the over-stylization of everyone just kind of works so well. The new costumes, I think, are so awesome. Everyone stands out. No one just kind of feels like a clone, even if they might have a similar playstyle, which I really, really like. There's one of the things that's kind of hard to avoid is like when you get into the rosters of like almost double digits up to triple digits, it's like, okay, this guy might as well just be this guy with a different name and a different coloring scheme. Whereas I've unlocked almost half the roster and everybody feels extremely unique. All of their attacks are great. All of their animations are amazing. Nothing really feels like anything was skimped. So going back to how crazy it is that we just learned about this game back in February 2021, the short runtime to release has just been like, wow, they have been cooking this game for a while, and it definitely makes sense why some of the teams were quiet for so long in Omega Force, and the quality just really, really, really shows here. So speaking of quality, I've got to talk about the gameplay. So the gameplay is really interesting for me. It feels like they listened to the complaints and the feedback of Samurai Warriors 4's kind of core mechanics way more than I've seen them do for any other game. And not saying that Koei Tecmo don't listen to their games, like they're probably one of the best. Like comparing things like OG Neo's beta to like the finished product and different things like that. The company definitely prides themselves on listening to feedback. But Samurai Warriors 5 is funny of like, it has that fast kinetic gameplay of Samurai Warriors 4 with, yes, you have your normal attacks, but your hyper attacks dashing you forward doesn't feel as overpowered, because when you're playing Samurai Warriors 4, it was very easy for you to just triangle through everything. It was like, why am I getting on my horse? Just triangle, triangle, triangle. And what I think is interesting about 5 is that Samurai Warriors 5 didn't decide, okay, we're going to nerf that, or, oh, we're going to get rid of that. It's like, we're going to change it where it makes sense. So you're going to have characters who might be ninjas or small katana users. They are very fast. Their triangle attacks are going to do leaps and bounds similar to 4 and stuff like that. But then you know of characters who might have heavier weapons, like sledgehammers, or even like two-handed swords. Like, their first hyper attack will dash them forward, and then they stay put and do a couple of small moving forwards while they're big, grand, sweeping attacks. So, again, just going back to, even though there's a ton of characters, it feels different, but while still feeling like a nice action game. The combat never feels like slow. The pacing of everything has been really, really good. This has to be the first time, at least in my playthrough so far, where I've never yelled at the horse. I feel like there are so many Dynasty or just Warrior games in general where I'm messing around with the horse and I'm like, oh my god, like, why is there a dedicated horse button if I feel like half the time I have to just mash on it and then he's like stuck on a boulder or something? But no, this one is great. Of like, the horse follows you, picks you up right away. I never feel like I've got to go back. They've really maintained this speed of just, you are in these huge battlefields, you are destroying hundreds of opponents, and we want nothing to get in the way of that as long as you are playing. And it can just... Making a combo start from the first person to the 1000th person is just such a satisfying feeling. Like, when I got my first 10,000 hit combo, I was like, it didn't feel cheap. It felt like it was earned. It was like, okay, I'm using this with my special attacks, I'm doing my ultimates, and building off levels was really, really appreciated. So, another thing I want to talk about that's new with this game, and kind of brought over from, I guess, Dynasty Warriors 9, but feels more like Warriors Orochi 4, they added in these ultimate abilities, and it's basically like skilled cooldowns that can be actions of like, maybe doing a small-scale special attack, wiping out a couple of enemies in front of you, boosting up your attack, defense, health, special meter, or just dashing forward to cancel out of an animation. These feel amazing. This is the best I've ever felt that system, and even playing something like a recent example of a game that uses that with Pirate Warriors 4, this just feels the best. There are so many options to choose from. I never feel like I'm getting bogged down in the menus, though. In this game, its menus and the way that it chooses to teach you things has been so smart. Of nothing feels overwhelming. The game pretty much goes through, okay, from the first battle in Chapter 1 story mode to the end of Chapter 1, you're going to learn almost all of the menus that you'll need for upgrading your character, changing their weapons, upgrading horses, things like that, without feeling overbearing, without feeling slow or restrictive. And that is such a hard thing to nail, and I'm so amazed that they were able to do that. I think when you're just jumping into a Warriors game, it's like, okay, when I'm not mashing, let's look at the menus. Okay, what the heck are all these numbers for? This one really, really respected your time while still feeling deep. Having skills for everyone while they have to share skill points, but having unique skill trees is a really, really nice thing of like, okay, I love this character, but do I want to blow 100 skill points? Because what if I unlock someone new and I want to just upgrade them up like crazy? Having stock experience, stock gold all be shared is really, really nice, and not having it be tied to someone. So that way, as soon as you do get a new character, let's say they're really, really underleveled, just crank them up with all that stock XP you've had and skill points, and they're ready to go as soon as you want, whether it be in story mode, Citadel mode, or free mode. I think one of the big things I keep coming back to while talking about my impressions in this video is that Samurai Warriors 5 respects your time and still finds ways to be surprising and enjoyable, which I just have not felt so consistently in a Warriors game in so long. And I mean, this is coming from someone who literally, I own every single one now, and I've played very, very many hours of all of them over the past PlayStation generation. So from the very first one with Dynasty Warriors 8 complete, all the way to this, it's kind of funny of like, I felt like every game was chasing that itch, or at least never could live up to the standards of 8 complete. That was the first PlayStation 4 game to come out. And now with Samurai Warriors 5, it really feels like, hey, we're not just trying to copy 8 and be our own version of it. It's like, no, this is something very unique to its own. The combat feels very fast, very satisfying. I actually care about the stories. The systems are not overly complicated and dumb. They're fun, quick, I'm in and out, things make sense. Upgrading everything is very satisfying. This just ticks every box that I really thought I could have ever wanted with a Samurai Warriors game, and I'm really excited to keep diving deep, see what I think about the story, keep playing it with my wife. It's, again, another one, super shout out to, if you play this with co-op with anyone, whether it be local or online, it is just such a blast playing the single player, but especially like co-op, of just having that thing of like, hey, you're both working together, you're doing your special attacks, you're just wiping out enemies together. And when you get someone who really likes these games and you play them with you, and not like just making someone play it with you just because, oh hey, I want you to play this with me, it's one of those really rare moments that you can't replicate with any other series, at least not that I've ever had. So I know this was far from a quick video, but I wanted to give a lot of thoughts in terms of what I thought about the game, basically how much in love with it I am so far after the first 10 hours of it. Either way, let me know what you think. Are you excited about Samurai Warriors 5? Is this your first one in the series? Is this the 5th one in the series for you? Is this your 100th one in the series? Let me know if I didn't answer any questions you're curious about. It's pretty much no holds bars, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If there's things you want to see from the game, let me know. I can try uploading footage like that onto YouTube. But either way, I'm just super excited and wanted to share this all with you. Thank you all so much for listening or watching to this, however you decided to enjoy the content. Also, thank you so much to Koei Tecmo once again for letting me cover this game. I am so excited that it is finally almost here for everyone around the world to enjoy and play, whether it be on PC, Xbox. By the way, shout out to Xbox for the first time. Like, Samurai Warriors has not been on an Xbox platform since 2 on the 360, so it's been a really long time, but for those Xbox, like, Warriors fans, like, that's a really cool thing to do. So Switch is going to be a big one as well, especially because now these are all getting physical releases, and of course PlayStation. So let me know what you think. I'm excited to hear everyone's thoughts once the game is in more people's hands, but either way, I will not ramble on any longer. Have a good rest of your day, everybody, and I will talk to you later. Bye.